This is the extraordinary story of Ivânia, a psychiatrist who went through two profound mystical experiences that completely transformed her understanding of life, consciousness, and human nature. Her story is especially relevant because as a mental health professional, she offers a unique perspective on phenomena that are often classified by traditional medicine as hallucinations or psychiatric disorders. Hello, I'm Marcus, and it's a pleasure to have you here at Beyond the Life We Live. I hope you feel at home and absorb the lesson from the story we're about to share. By the way, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as it's very important to us and helps bring more impactful stories to you. It all started in March 2020, when Ivânia was going through a moment of intense emotional stress. She was dealing with a tough situation involving her oldest daughter, trying to communicate about a specific issue that seemed impossible to resolve. Despite several attempts and different approaches, her daughter just couldn't understand what she was trying to say, leading to a misunderstanding that left her deeply discouraged. It's important to understand that Ivânia wasn't someone involved in spiritual or meditative practices. She describes herself as extremely scientific in her beliefs. She was raised Catholic, but didn't attend church regularly. Her mindset was spiritualist in the sense that she believed there had to be something more, but she didn't dwell on those questions or seek deeper knowledge in that area. As a psychiatrist, her focus was always on the scientific side of things, understanding people suffering through her academic training and clinical experience. On that particular Sunday in March 2020, Ivânia reached what she describes as an emotional exhaustion point. She felt she had tried everything to deal with and understand the situation with her daughter. In that state, she made a simple decision to sit on her bed and try to relax. But what happened next was completely unexpected and life-changing. Ivânia decided to do something that seemed simple. Take a deep breath. It wasn't some special breathing technique or meditation method she had learned. It was just the kind of deep breath people take when they're really tired. She repeated the process a few times, and then she felt as if the entire upper part of her head had completely opened up. The analogy she uses is imagining you're completely congested and suddenly take a medicine that clears everything instantly, but magnified many times over. It was as if parts of her brain, her nasal septum, that whole area, just disappeared, leaving behind open space. That opening brought a completely new sensation of freshness, something she had never experienced in her entire life. This energy wasn't just a vague feeling, it had a deeply organized and musical nature. As she kept breathing consciously, that harmonic sensation began to expand and move down through her body. When that harmonic energy filled her entire body, something even more incredible happened. That was the moment, as she heard a sound, that she completely lost control over what was happening. What she refers to as going happened very fast. Suddenly, you're in one place, and then you're not. The speed of that transition was overwhelming, and she was taken to a place she described as universal love. Trying to describe that place or a state made it clear to her that human language has serious limitations. She's very clear in saying that nothing in our earthly world can truly describe that state. Even being a mother, and considering a mother's love to be the deepest there is, she says that kind of love doesn't even compare. It's not even a grain of sand next to the love that exists there. That love was comforting and impossible to put into adequate words because we simply don't have any reference point here on earth. More than just being in that love, Ivânia dissolved into it. There was no separation. She was fully and inseparably part of it. In that state, all the problems that had driven her to seek peace in the first place simply disappeared. The issue with her daughter, all the frustration and communication difficulties, they all resolved themselves naturally. There was no more conflict, no more confusion, only the certainty that she belonged to that love, and that this love was her true nature. During this experience of union with universal love, Ivânia received a message she describes as telepathic. There was no separation between the one speaking and the one listening. The message was clear.
This is what you are. Go back, talk to your daughter, and share what you're perceiving.
The return process was gradual and gentle. She wasn't pulled back abruptly, and there were no sudden movements. Instead, she slowly left that state and returned to her body. As she came back, she noticed herself gradually adjusting to her physical body again, slowly regaining awareness of her surroundings and the issues in her life. But this time, something had changed. She came back with what she calls a little piece of there, and all her suffering was gone. When she fully returned to her normal state of consciousness, Ivânia began to cry. But these weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of wonder and deep gratitude. When her husband found her crying, he was worried and thought she was even more upset. But she explained she was crying because she was so amazed by what had just happened. From that moment on, Ivânia began to see life in a completely different way. She admits she didn't have the emotional maturity at the time to fully understand the depth of what had happened, but she knew for certain she was no longer the same person. Ivânia makes a point of emphasizing that the entire experience happened completely naturally. She doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, and doesn't use any substances that could alter her perception. She was completely lucid throughout the entire process and wasn't suffering from any physical, mental, or emotional illness that could explain what happened through any conventional medical diagnosis. Today, she compares the physical body to an animal and consciousness to something intelligent that inhabits that body. She describes this as being like the feeling we get when we see a corpse. The impression that whatever animated that body is gone, leaving behind only the biological structure. But in her case, even with her body functioning normally, she was able to sense the separation between the animalistic physical aspect and the intelligent conscious principle. In her experiences, there was no voice with specific auditory characteristics. The communications came directly above her head.